play a song first, all right? So in the spirit of fuck up nights, failure, learning, growing up, it's kind of like a next door neighbor of that. This song is a goofy country song-ish called Pants. And it is my multimedia pre-presentation bit. I'm gonna do it without the microphone, but I think we'll be able to handle it. Sometimes you gotta drink coffee because you're too tired to wake up before. Sometimes you're gonna bite your tongue because you just slammed your finger in the bathroom drawer. And sometimes you're gonna waste your whole dang Sunday watching Judge Judy with your aunts. Sometimes, son, most important of all, sometimes you gotta wear pants. Pants in the morning, pants in the evening, pants in the summer or fall. Dress slacks, gym shorts, swim trunks, oh Lord, it's better than nothing at all. So you better make sure your keister's covered if you're asking that girl to dance. 'Cause she don't need to know how you look down below, and that's why you gotta wear pants. So in true country music fashion, the second verse is a little more serious. Sometimes life's gonna knock you down, and you gotta walk around wearing the bruise. And sometimes you're gonna wear out your voice. You're too tired of singing the blues. And sometimes you're gonna sit hand in hand, just waiting for a second chance. And when it comes, you're gonna be ready, and that's why you gotta wear pants. Pants in the morning, pants in the evening, pants in the summer or fall. Dress slacks, trim shorts, swim trunks, oh Lord, it's better than nothing, nothing at all. It's a lesson I learned the hard way, son, so take a tip from your old man. Don't get caught with your pants down naked, 'cause if you do, you're gonna regret it. It's a big old world just to go out and get it now. And don't forget to wear your pants. Oh, but don't forget to wear your pants. Oh, sometimes you gotta wear pants.
So I saw him called Pants. Alright, boom. It was finally gonna happen. I was 18 and I'd been a musician for a long time, and I finally booked a real gig at a bar. And it was gonna be super cool. And my buddy Chad hooked me up with this gig at this bar called K Street Pub in New Orleans. And look, I had quit traditional piano lessons about 2 years prior to play the music I wanted to play. So I learned like every Billy Joel song, Ben Folds song, all kind of stuff, and this was my chance to put that shit on stage. The real deal. I never played at a bar. This was it. My big chance to do something cool at a bar in New Orleans, where I grew up, a city that's pretty famous for music and entertainment. Now I should take a minute and explain what happened at the bar in New Orleans. What Chad should have said is a bar in Greater New Orleans. See, I grew up in River Ridge, if anyone's familiar, about 10 minutes west of downtown New Orleans, the things you think of, the French Quarter, etc. K Street Pub was in Hammond, Louisiana, which is about 55 miles from New Orleans, almost to Baton Rouge. I didn't realize that. So I was going to be going to Hammond. There's a couple problems that were going to come with that we'll talk about when the next slide goes. So it's far away. When you're a musician or you're an artist and you're going to play music, you're actually not a music player. You're a person who brings people to a venue. That's all you are. And if you can't do that, bars and venues don't like you. And when the venue is 55 miles away and you've never done this before, you're not bringing a lot of people. That was a big uh-oh. However, when you're 17 and you're a blossoming musician, there's two people I was very fortunate who did want to go, but I wasn't too thrilled about it. Walker and Sharon Hobbs insisted that they needed to drive me 55 miles across the Louisiana swamps at night. I couldn't go alone. I had to go with them. First gig, going with the parents. You know what? We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. So it's the week before the show. I was like, oh man, I'm a rock star, man. I'm gonna make like a set list and like pick my songs. I wrote a couple songs. It was pretty cool. I'm gonna do some of my favorite songs. I was working really, really hard, right? I was like practicing, and I was super into it. I was gonna make the most of this. It was still gonna be super cool. So you know, we got in the Toyota Sienna minivan that afternoon to drive to Hammond, me and my mom and my dad. And I was like, had this mix of like, oh fuck, I'm embarrassed. It's like my mom and dad. I was nervous, I was excited. It was crazy. But you know, we got in the car and we took off. And we drove. We drove for what felt like an eternity. We drove all the way through Norco where the oil refineries are. We drove over the west side of Lake Pontchartrain where it's super swampy. It's exactly the cliche Louisiana thing you think of. We drove through a town called Manchac, which is famous for thin fried catfish, if you ever need to go. And we finally made it to Cape Street Pub. Cape Street Pub was in downtown Hammond by some railroad tracks, like a cute little, you know, rural city downtown area. And we got there, and I found out some good news. My parents wanted to go run this errand to like go see some antique store. Cool, I'm gonna be there by myself, so that's awesome. I'm gonna get to hang out and you know, kind of like chill out, act like I'm not a 17-year-old there with my parents. So they left, and so things were looking up, right? Well, things are going to turn for the worst. I had coordinated with some guy, I forgot his name, to lend me a keyboard to play when I got there. So I couldn't find this guy. I was freaking out. An hour went by. I couldn't find him. Am I going to have a keyboard? Finally found him. He was like, yeah, bro, here's your keyboard. I said, do you have a stand? And they were like, you didn't say anything about a stand. I was like, do you have anything? So they give me this rickety-ass old stand, hands me that and a roll of duct tape. And so there we go. Later on, playing the show on this rigged-up stand, playing the songs. It was nuts. We played my favorites. We played some Elton John stuff. People were digging it. And it was about to get to the second to last final song. Final song was going to be Piano Man, Billy Joel, with the harmonica. People were going to sing. It was going to be killer. And then during the second to last song, I was playing piano solo in one of my songs, and the stand collapsed. Fell off the front of the stage. The keyboard fell off the front of the stage. Audio cables popped out of jacks. Speakers squealed. Gear crashes. Awful silence falls over the crowd. And then, from the silence, while I sat vulnerably on the stage with nothing in front of me, as exposed as possible, from the back of the room, some dude, as if he thought I planned this, shouts out, "Burn it!" Like it was this like total planned rock city move. I was ushered off the stage. I couldn't finish the set. They had a hook. They wouldn't use it. And I like Charlie Brown, Arrested Development style, head hung, back to the minivan with my mom and dad. And I sat there in the dark, driving back home to River Ridge, Louisiana, through the West Lake Pontchartrain swamps, in silence, 17, and living a musical nightmare. And that's what happened. That's how my first real show went. It's not a made-up story. It's literally what happened. So what did I learn? Well, I learned a bunch of stuff. Very quickly, I'll say this: in the last 10 years, this shit still happens. People don't communicate, gear explodes, things go sideways. But I can give you 2 words of advice that I think might translate to other areas if you're an entrepreneur, risk taker, artist, or whatever. The first is be the over-communicator and over-planner. Be the nerd who insists upon grabbing bullet points and starting the email chain after. Because if you work with artists, I love artists, I am an artist, many are not organized. And while they mean well, they will happen to forget very important things. So be the nerd who insists on over-communicating and being over-detailed. And then the other side, if you're able to buy good gear, you're going to take care of your gear, it'll take care of you. Otherwise, you're not exposed to extra tail risk, like borrowing other people's gear that's going to fall apart in the middle of the show. So, and the fun story, the fact that it's still failing, last fall I put out an album like Tim mentioned. And I did a big album release show at 800 East Studios, which is where we mixed and mastered the record. It's like Zach Brown's old thing. We did a show in the studio. I had the best musicians, the best gear. We planned it. We had like 50 people in there. Second to last song, no joke, we blew a fuse. Light rig went out, PA went out. We kind of rolled with it and turned it into an okay thing, but I'll be damned, that shit still doesn't happen. And I think it's just how it goes, right? So that's my story. Thanks.